Your phone is lying to you. Right now, as you watch this, your device is using technology invented by a woman who was dismissed as just a pretty face. While Hollywood executives counted her beauty and ignored her brain, she was secretly developing the foundation for Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth in her spare time. Her name was Hedy Lamarr. By day, she played the glamorous movie star. By night, she was an inventor whose ideas were so advanced that the US Navy called them classified and locked them away for 50 years. The military said her frequency-hopping technology was too important for a woman to understand. They were wrong, dead wrong. Because while they buried her patents, enemy forces were listening to every American radio transmission, costing thousands of lives. Meanwhile, the solution sat in a government vault, invented by an actress they refused to take seriously. This is the story of how prejudice almost broke the modern world. Picture this. It's 1933, and a 19-year-old girl sits in a Vienna mansion, watching her husband host dinner parties for Nazi officers. Her name is Hedwig Kiesler, but the world will know her as Hedy Lamarr. While the men around the table discuss weapons and warfare, she listens and learns. Her husband, Fritz Mandl, is one of Austria's largest arms dealers. He thinks his beautiful young wife is decoration. He's catastrophically wrong. Hedy has a photographic memory and an engineer's mind trapped in a world that only sees her face. Night after night, she absorbs classified military secrets, weapon specifications, and radio technology discussions that would make most people's heads spin. But here's what nobody knows yet. This forced education in Nazi weapons technology will eventually save the Allied forces and create the digital age. The dinner conversations that were meant to exclude her were actually giving her the tools to defeat them. By 1937, Hedy has escaped her controlling marriage and fled to Hollywood, where Louis B. Mayer signs her to MGM. The studio machine immediately gets to work transforming her into America's most exotic star. They tell her to look beautiful, say her lines, and leave the thinking to men. She has other plans. Between film shoots, Hedy turns her dressing room into a laboratory. She sketches improved designs for airplanes, studies radio frequencies, and tinkers with mechanical devices. Her neighbors think she's eccentric. Howard Hughes thinks she's brilliant. When she suggests modifications to make his aircraft faster, he gives her access to his engineers and equipment. But it's 1940 when everything changes. Hedy is at a Hollywood party when she meets George Antheil, an avant-garde composer known for synchronizing multiple-player pianos. Most people see him as an artistic oddball. Hedy sees something else entirely. What if, she asks him over cocktails, we could make radio signals jump frequencies the same way your pianos jump between songs? Antheil thinks she's talking about music. She's talking about war. Because Hedy has been reading about a horrific tragedy. German U-boats have been intercepting Allied radio signals and using them to hunt down ships filled with refugees, including children fleeing the Holocaust. The reason? Allied torpedoes used simple radio guidance that enemies could jam or intercept with deadly ease. Here's where it gets personal. Hedy's own mother is trapped in Nazi-occupied Vienna. Every ship that gets sunk means fewer people escape. Every failed rescue mission means more families destroyed. So this Hollywood actress decides to solve a problem that has stumped the world's best military engineers. In Antheil's apartment, surrounded by player piano rolls and radio equipment, they work out the impossible. If radio signals could rapidly switch between frequencies, hopping unpredictably like a song jumping between notes, enemies couldn't intercept them long enough to decode or jam them. The technical challenge is staggering. How do you synchronize a transmitter and receiver to hop between frequencies in perfect unison? Antheil's player piano gives them the answer: perforated paper rolls. The same mechanism that makes pianos play complex melodies could make radios dance between frequencies. They sketch frantically, Hedy's engineering intuition combining with Antheil's understanding of mechanical synchronization. Picture them in that small apartment, the glamorous movie star and the eccentric composer, designing technology that won't be fully understood for decades. But here's what makes this moment extraordinary. Hedy isn't just solving a technical problem, she's weaponizing her own trauma. Every Nazi dinner party she endured, every weapons discussion she was forced to overhear, every moment of being underestimated, it all becomes fuel for an invention that could save thousands of lives. On August 11, 1942, they receive U.S. Patent 2,292,387 for their secret communication system. Hedy immediately offers it to the U.S. Navy for free. Not for money, not for fame, for the war effort. The Navy's response is swift and devastating. The ideas are too complicated for practical use. They classify the patent and bury it in their archives. Then, in a move that perfectly captures the sexism of the era, they suggest Hedy would be more useful selling war bonds with her beauty than contributing with her brain. Think about that for a second. While American soldiers are dying because their communications are being intercepted, the solution sits in a government vault because military officials can't believe a movie actress could out-engineer their experts. But the betrayal goes deeper. Navy engineers quietly study Hedy's patent, understand its brilliance, and begin developing similar systems in secret. They just don't credit her or pay her. For decades, the military uses her ideas while dismissing her publicly. Meanwhile, German forces continue intercepting Allied communications. Ships get sunk, missions fail, people die, all while the solution gathers dust because it came from the wrong person. For 50 years, Hedy watches her technology remain buried. She continues acting, becomes a Hollywood icon, but her greatest achievement stays classified. She can't even talk about it without risking treason charges. Here's the cruel irony. While her invention sits unused, she becomes stereotyped as the dumb blonde actress. Comedians joke about her intelligence. Critics dismiss her as just another pretty face. She wins no awards for her movies, but the technology that could have revolutionized warfare remains her secret shame. By the 1960s, the military begins quietly implementing frequency hopping in classified communications systems. They still don't credit Hedy. By the 1980s, her patent expires, making the technology public domain just as the digital revolution begins. And suddenly, everyone needs frequency hopping. In 1997, Hedy receives a call that changes everything. The Electronic Frontier Foundation wants to give her an award. She's confused. For what? For inventing the technology that makes modern wireless communication possible. Wi-Fi, GPS, Bluetooth, cell phones, satellite communication, everything relies on her frequency hopping concept. Every text you send, every call you make, every GPS direction you follow uses Hedy Lamarr's 1942 invention. The woman dismissed as too pretty to be smart had accidentally created the foundation of the information age. But here's what breaks your heart. Hedy is 83 years old, living alone, nearly blind, when she finally receives recognition. She spent most of her life watching men get credit for work that built upon her ideas. The wealth generated by her invention, trillions of dollars, went to everyone except her. During that phone call, she tells the award presenter it's about time. Today, her frequency hopping technology is worth an estimated $30 billion annually. Every major tech company from Apple to Google owes part of their success to concepts she developed in a composer's apartment in 1940. But the real tragedy isn't financial, it's human. How many other brilliant minds did we ignore because they didn't fit our expectations? How many innovations did we delay because we couldn't see past stereotypes? The next time your phone connects to Wi-Fi, remember, you're using technology invented by a woman who was told she was too beautiful to understand engineering. Hedy Lamarr died in 2000, just as the digital revolution she enabled was reaching its peak. She never lived to see iPhones, never experienced the internet culture her invention made possible, never witnessed a world where her frequency hopping technology connects billions of people every second. But here's the haunting question. What if they had listened in 1942? Imagine if the Navy had implemented her system immediately. Allied communications become unbreachable. German U-boats can't intercept rescue ships. Thousands of lives are saved, including refugees fleeing the Holocaust. The war potentially ends sooner. And imagine if society had taken her seriously from the beginning. Instead of waiting 50 years to acknowledge her genius, what if we had celebrated inventor Hedy alongside actress Hedy? How many other brilliant women might have felt empowered to step forward with their ideas? Today we live in the world Hedy Lamarr built, but we almost lost it to prejudice. Her story isn't just about one forgotten woman. It's about how innovation gets stifled when we judge minds by appearances, when we silence voices that don't match our expectations. Think about this. Right now, there are probably brilliant people around you whose ideas are being dismissed for reasons that have nothing to do with their intelligence. The next Hedy Lamarr might be sitting in your classroom, working at your company, or living in your neighborhood. The question is, will we recognize them this time? What would you have done if you were Hedy? Ignored by the military, dismissed by society, but sitting on technology that could change the world. Share your thoughts below, and if this story opened your eyes like it did mine, hit that subscribe button. Because next week we're diving into another forgotten genius whose invention is hiding in plain sight. The future depends on the voices we choose to hear.